Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every life when we must ask ourselves, what will I leave behind? Not in riches, not in titles, but in the hearts and minds of those who come after me. A legacy is not carved in stone or written on pages alone. It is carried in the voices of those who remember us, in the lessons we teach, and in the kindness we share. Some believe that to be remembered, one must be grand, that their name must be printed in bold, shining letters. But the truth is, legacies are often built in whispers, in the way we encourage a child, in the wisdom we share with a friend, in the love we pour into the world. To leave a legacy, one must first live with purpose. Not perfection, but purpose. We must dare to rise when we fall, to speak when silence is easier, to love when fear tells us to close our hearts. The greatest legacies belong not to those who sought power, but to those who gave power to others. They belong to those who stood unshaken in the face of adversity, to those who turned their struggles into songs, their pain into poetry, their wounds into wisdom. Legacy is not measured in possessions or in the grandness of our achievements. It is measured in influence. Every person we meet, every word we speak, and every action we take has the potential to shape the world around us. Influence is a silent force, sometimes felt in the moment, but often recognized only in hindsight. Think about the moments in your life when someone's words changed your perspective, when a simple act of kindness shifted your day, or when a story, a poem, or even a lesson stayed with you long after it was given. That is influence. It does not require a stage or a spotlight. It does not demand wealth or status. Influence lives in the ordinary exchanges of daily life, in the encouragement we offer, in the wisdom we share, and in the example we set. Some believe that influence belongs only to the famous, to leaders, celebrities, or great historical figures. But influence is not reserved for those with power. It is in the hands of everyone who chooses to use their voice for good. A teacher who believes in a struggling student, a parent who speaks words of love instead of anger, a friend who listens without judgment. These moments shape lives in ways we may never fully see. And influence is not always about what we say, it is also about how we live, the way we carry ourselves, the strength we show in adversity, the kindness we extend to those who can offer us nothing in return. These are the things people remember. They watch us, even when we don't realize it. They take note of how we handle conflict, how we treat strangers, how we rise after falling. In this way, our influence extends far beyond our own lifetime. It is easy to underestimate our power, to think, who am I to make a difference? But the truth is, every movement in history, every great change started with individuals who used their influence, however small it seemed at the time. A single voice can spark a revolution. A single act of courage can inspire generations. If you wish to leave a legacy, recognize the power of your influence. Speak words that build, not break. Act in ways that inspire, not discourage. And live a life that others will remember, not for what you owned, but for the way you made them feel. Because at the end of it all, influence is the thread that weaves our legacy into the fabric of the world. Words have a power that far exceeds their sound. They can lift spirits or shatter dreams, bring people together or tear them apart. Long after they are spoken, words linger in the hearts and minds of those who hear them. They shape beliefs, define identities, and set the course of our lives. A legacy is not just about what we do, it is also about what we say. Think back to a time when someone's words changed the way you saw yourself. Perhaps it was a teacher who told you that you were capable of greatness, or a loved one who whispered, "I believe in you," at a moment when you doubted yourself. Those words stayed with you, shaping your confidence, your choices, and the way you moved through the world. Now consider the opposite. Think of a time when careless words wounded you, a time when someone spoke out of anger or indifference, leaving behind scars that took years to heal. Harsh words can become chains that hold a person back, making them doubt their worth or potential. The wounds inflicted by words are invisible, but they run deep. This is the weight of words. The words we speak do not simply disappear after they leave our lips. They have an energy, an impact, a life of their own. They echo long after the conversation has ended. They take root in the hearts of those who receive them, growing into either strength or sorrow. A single sentence can be a turning point in someone's life. It can be the encouragement that pushes a person to chase their dreams, or the doubt that convinces them to give up. It can be the warmth that makes someone feel seen and valued, or the coldness that makes them feel alone. Great legacies are built on words. The words of poets, leaders, and storytellers have moved nations, healed wounds, and ignited revolutions. Their voices echo across time because they understood that words are more than just sounds. They are instruments of change. But the power of words does not belong only to the famous. Each of us has the ability to shape the world through the words we choose. Every conversation, every encouragement, every truth we speak becomes part of our legacy. So let us choose our words wisely. Let us speak with kindness, with courage, with love. Let us use our voices to uplift rather than tear down, to inspire rather than discourage, to heal rather than harm. Because in the end, long after we are gone, our words will remain, and the way we made people feel through them, that will be our true legacy. Adversity is an inevitable part of life. It does not ask permission before it arrives. It does not wait until we are ready. It comes like a storm, sudden and unforgiving, testing our strength, our patience, and our spirit. And yet, the true measure of a person is not found in how they stand during easy times, but in how they rise when everything around them seems to be falling apart. Facing adversity with grace does not mean ignoring pain or pretending hardship does not exist. It does not mean that we never stumble, never cry, or never feel lost. Grace is not about avoiding struggle. It is about how we carry ourselves through it. It is about standing tall, even when the weight of the world is on our shoulders. It is about choosing dignity over defeat, resilience over resentment, and wisdom over bitterness. Every person who has ever left a meaningful legacy has faced adversity. They have known struggle, rejection, and heartbreak. But what set them apart was not the absence of hardship. It was the way they responded to it. Some of the most powerful stories in history are not of those who had everything handed to them, but of those who fought through darkness to find their light. When adversity strikes, we are given a choice. We can let it define us, break us, or refine us. We can choose to become bitter, or we can choose to become better. Every setback carries within it the seed of growth. Every hardship teaches us something about strength, about patience, about the depth of our own spirit. And when we face challenges with grace, we show others that they too can rise. Grace in adversity means holding on to hope when everything seems hopeless. It means speaking with kindness, even when the world has been unkind to us. It means refusing to let pain turn our hearts cold, refusing to let struggle make us small. It means standing back up time and time again, not because it is easy, but because we refuse to be defeated. Some of the greatest lessons in life are learned not in moments of comfort, but in moments of challenge. Adversity forces us to dig deeper, to find strength we did not know we had, to discover who we truly are when nothing is certain, and in those moments we shape our legacy, not by avoiding struggle, but by facing it with courage, with dignity, and with unshakable grace. So when hardship comes, as it always will, remember this. The way you rise from the ashes will be remembered. The strength you show in the darkest of times will inspire others. The grace you carry in the face of adversity will be the light that guides someone else through their own storm. This is how legacies are built, not in the absence of struggle, but in the triumph over it. Legacy is not built in grand gestures alone. It is built in the quiet moments of kindness, in the small yet significant acts of courage, in the decisions we make every day to stand for what is right and to lift others up. Kindness and courage are the cornerstones of a life well lived, and they are among the most powerful gifts we can leave behind. Kindness is often underestimated. In a world that sometimes glorifies power, wealth, and competition, kindness can be seen as something soft, something secondary. But make no mistake, kindness is a force. It has the power to heal, to connect, and to change lives in ways that can never fully be measured. Think of a moment when someone's kindness changed your day, or even your life. Perhaps it was a stranger who offered a helping hand when you least expected it. Perhaps it was a friend who saw your silent struggles and reminded you that you were not alone. Kindness does not need an audience, nor does it seek recognition. It works in the shadows, quietly shaping the world one interaction at a time. Every act of kindness creates a ripple, a single smile, a word of encouragement, a moment of generosity. These things do not disappear after they happen. They live on, passed from person to person, spreading further than we could ever imagine. We may never know the full impact of our kindness, but that does not make it any less real. The beauty of kindness is that it costs nothing, yet it has the power to change everything. It is the bridge between people, the language that everyone understands, the foundation upon which true legacies are built. If kindness is the heart of a great legacy, then courage is its backbone. It takes courage to be kind in a world that can be harsh. It takes courage to stand up for what is right, even when we stand alone. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to dream big, to step outside of comfort and into purpose. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Every person who has ever changed the world did so not because they had no fear, but because they refused to let fear stop them. The greatest leaders, the most inspiring voices, the people who left their mark on history, all of them were afraid at some point, but they acted anyway. Courage is found in the small choices just as much as in the big moments. It is in the decision to speak up when silence would be easier. It is in the refusal to back down in the face of injustice. It is in the determination to keep going even when the road is difficult. Many people believe that courage belongs only to warriors, activists, or leaders, but courage belongs to all of us. It belongs to the single mother working tirelessly to give her children a better life. It belongs to the student who dares to chase a dream that others doubt. It belongs to the person who has been knocked down by life but stands up again, refusing to let hardship define them. When kindness and courage come together, they create something truly powerful. The world does not just need strong people. It needs strong people who are also kind. It does not just need voices of wisdom. It needs voices that speak with compassion. It does not just need those who stand tall. It needs those who lift others up as they rise. A life of kindness and courage is a life that will not be forgotten. The people you uplift, the fears you overcome, the love you pour into the world, these things will outlive you. They will echo long after you are gone, shaping lives, inspiring change, and proving that even the smallest acts of goodness can leave an everlasting mark. So be kind, be courageous, and know that in doing so, you are leaving behind a legacy that will never fade. What does it mean to truly leave a legacy? Is it about wealth, status, or recognition? Or is it something deeper, something that cannot be measured by awards or possessions? The answer lies in authenticity and purpose. The most enduring legacies are built by those who live their truth unapologetically and pursue a purpose greater than themselves. To be authentic is to be completely yourself, without masks, without apologies, and without fear of judgment. Yet, in a world that constantly tells us who we should be, authenticity can feel like an act of rebellion. Society often pressures us to fit into predefined molds, to conform to expectations, to suppress the parts of ourselves that might not be accepted. But those who leave the most powerful legacies are the ones who refuse to shrink themselves to make others comfortable. Authenticity is about standing firmly in who you are, even when the world tries to shape you into something else. It is about embracing your strengths and your flaws, your victories and your failures, and understanding that your uniqueness is not a weakness, but a gift. Consider the people who have left the greatest marks on history. Thinkers, artists, leaders, and visionaries. They were not afraid to be different. They did not seek approval, they sought truth. They lived by their values, spoke from their hearts, and dared to walk paths that others were too afraid to take. Authenticity is not about being perfect. It is about being real. It means showing up as your true self, even when it is difficult. It means having the courage to be vulnerable, to admit when you don't have all the answers, and to stand by your beliefs even when they are challenged. A life lived authentically is a life that will be remembered. Because when you live in your truth, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light in a world that too often asks people to dim themselves. And in doing so, you leave behind a legacy of courage, self-acceptance, and inspiration. If authenticity is about living truthfully, then purpose is about living meaningfully. Purpose is what gives our lives direction. It is what pushes us forward, what fuels our actions, what makes our time on this earth matter. Living with purpose does not mean that every moment must be filled with grand achievements. Purpose is not about fame or fortune. It is about impact. It is about how we use our time, our talents, and their energy to make a difference in the world around us. Some people find their purpose in their careers. Teachers who inspire, doctors who heal, artists who move hearts with their work. Others find purpose in their relationships, in the way they nurture and support their families and communities. Some find it in advocacy, in standing up for those who cannot stand for themselves. And for many, purpose is not found in a single role, but in the small, everyday choices to live with kindness, integrity, and love. The mistake many make is believing that purpose is something we must find, as if it is a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. But purpose is not something outside of us. It is something we create. It is something we cultivate through the way we live, the way we serve, and the way we give ourselves to the world. A purposeful life is one that asks, how can I make a difference? It is one that seeks to lift others, to contribute, to leave a place better than it was found. When we align our lives with a greater purpose, we step into something bigger than ourselves, and in doing so, we leave a legacy that will last far beyond our own lifetime. Authenticity without purpose is directionless, and purpose without authenticity is empty. But together, they create something truly powerful, a life that is lived fully and meaningfully. When you live as your truest self and dedicate yourself to something that matters, you inspire others to do the same. You show people that it is possible to live without fear, to walk a path that is uniquely your own, and to leave a mark that is not defined by material success, but by the lives you touch. Your legacy will not be in what you owned, but in how you lived. It will not be in how well you fit in, but in how boldly you stood out. It will not be in the titles you held, but in the purpose you pursued. So dare to be yourself. Dare to live with meaning. And know that when you do, your impact will be felt long after you are gone. Because authenticity and purpose are not just the keys to a fulfilling life, they are the foundation of a legacy that will never fade. A legacy is not just about what we achieve during our lifetime, it is about what we leave behind for those who come after us. It is about taking the wisdom we have gained, the lessons we have learned, and the values we have upheld, and passing them on to future generations. It is about ensuring that the light we carry does not fade when we are gone, but continues to shine through the lives of others. Passing the torch is both a responsibility and a privilege. It means recognizing that our time on this earth is temporary, but the impact we make can be everlasting. It is about mentorship, guidance, and the willingness to invest in others, not for personal gain, but for the good of the world. One of the greatest gifts we can pass on is knowledge. Knowledge is the foundation upon which progress is built. It is what allows each generation to stand on the shoulders of those who came before them, reaching further and achieving more. But knowledge alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to take knowledge and apply it in a way that serves others. It is the insight gained through experience, the understanding that comes from both triumph and failure. Wisdom teaches us not just what to do, but why it matters. It reminds us that success without purpose is hollow, that progress without ethics is dangerous, and that achievement without compassion is meaningless. When we share our wisdom, we do more than pass on information. We offer guidance, perspective, and the tools necessary for others to navigate their own journeys. The most successful societies, families, and organizations are those that recognize the importance of passing down wisdom. They understand that true leadership is not about holding on to power, but about preparing the next generation to lead. One of the most direct ways to pass the torch is through mentorship. Every great leader, thinker, and innovator was once guided by someone who believed in them. Behind every success story is a mentor who took the time to teach to encourage, and to push someone toward their full potential. Mentorship is not about creating copies of ourselves. It is not about forcing others to follow in our footsteps exactly as we did. Instead, it is about helping them discover their own path, equipping them with the tools they need to carve out their own success. A true mentor does not just provide answers. They ask the right questions. They do not just offer solutions. They inspire growth. They do not just lead, they empower. Imagine a world where every person who gained knowledge, skill, or wisdom made it their mission to pass it on to someone else. Imagine the kind of progress, innovation, and positive change that could happen if mentorship was seen not as an obligation, but as a natural part of success. While knowledge and mentorship are crucial, perhaps the most important thing we can pass on is values. Our world is shaped not just by what people know, but by what they believe in and stand for. Honesty, integrity, kindness, resilience, and courage. These are the values that build strong individuals, strong families, and strong communities. They are the principles that withstand time and change. If we want to leave behind a legacy that truly matters, we must ensure that these values are instilled in those who follow us. We do this not just through words, but through actions. Children learn not just by what we tell them, but by what they see us do. Young professionals are shaped not just by company policies, but by the ethical leadership of those above them. Communities are built not just by laws, but by the culture of kindness and accountability that is fostered within them. If we want to pass the torch effectively, we must be the kind of people we hope future generations will become. We must live by the values we wish to see in the world. The ultimate goal of passing the torch is to leave the world better than we found it. It is about recognizing that we are part of something larger than ourselves, a continuum of progress, growth, and transformation. This can be done in many ways. Some people pass the torch by raising children who carry forward their values and ideals. Others do it through teaching, ensuring that the next generation has the skills they need to succeed. Some pass the torch through art, literature, or activism, leaving behind ideas that continue to inspire long after they are gone. No contribution is too small. Even a simple act of encouragement, a single lesson shared, or a moment of support can plant a seed that will grow in ways we cannot predict. When we focus on what we can leave behind for others, we shift our perspective. We begin to think not just about personal success, but about collective progress. We realize that our greatest achievements are not the ones that benefit us alone, but the ones that create opportunities for others. Passing the torch is about ensuring that the good we have done in this world does not end with us. It is about leaving behind a legacy of wisdom, mentorship, values, and service. We do not get to choose how long we will be here, but we do get to choose how we spend our time. We get to choose whether we hoard knowledge or share it, whether we keep our success to ourselves or use it to uplift others, whether we focus only on our own journey or help light the path for those who follow. One day, all of us will leave this world, but if we have passed the torch with care, with intention, and with love, our light will continue to shine. It will shine in the people we have mentored, in the wisdom we have shared, in the kindness we have spread, and in the values we have instilled. That is the true meaning of legacy. Not just what we accomplish, but what we pass on. So let us lift each other. Let us teach, guide, and inspire. Let us make it our mission to ensure that the next generation is stronger, wiser, and better because of the choices we make today. This is how we pass the torch. This is how we live forever. Not in body, but in the hearts, minds, and actions of those who come after us. Legacy is not about wealth, titles, or fleeting recognition. It is about the lives we touch, the lessons we teach, and the impact we leave behind. It is about how we use our words, our influence, and our courage to shape the world in meaningful ways. It is about facing adversity with grace, leading with authenticity and purpose, and ensuring that the kindness and wisdom we cultivate do not end with us. A true legacy is not written in stone. It is written in the hearts of others. It lives on in the people we uplift, the values we instill, and the light we share. It is found in the small yet powerful acts of kindness, the moments of courage that inspire change, and the torches we pass to the next generation. So let us live fully, love deeply, and lead boldly. Let us be the kind of people whose impact cannot be erased. Let us leave behind a world that is better because we were in it. Because in the end, our legacy will not be measured by what we had, but by what we gave. And that, above all else, is how we live forever.
My dear friends, there comes a moment in each life when the weight becomes too heavy, the road too long, the silence too loud. We try and try and try again, wrapping our hearts around burdens we were never meant to carry alone. The sun rises and still we struggle. The moon glows and still we worry. We say we trust, but still we cling. We say we believe, but still we build walls around our fear, hoping they will protect us from the very life we're meant to live. Ooh, but there is power in surrender. There is strength in letting go. There is a mighty beauty in stepping aside and saying, God, I cannot do this without you. The wind may howl and the rain may fall, but when you leave everything in God's hands, you begin to walk in peace you never knew existed. Let the doubters doubt. Let the naysayers speak. Let the storms rise if they must. Because when your soul knows where its anchor lies, when your heart knows who holds the stars, then the chaos of this world cannot steal your calm. There is something powerful about the peace that does not make sense. It does not come from the absence of problems or the presence of perfect circumstances. It comes when you have handed everything over to the one who sees beyond what you see, knows beyond what you know, and holds what you cannot hold. Trusting God fully is not just an act of faith. It is a declaration that says, I may not understand, but I will not fear. I may not see the full picture, but I will still believe. And in that trust, peace rises like a steady river, calm and unshaken. Life has a way of making us restless. We try to plan every move, predict every outcome, and hold on so tightly to what we think should happen that we forget who is really in control. We build towers of worry in our minds, stacking fear on top of anxiety and covering it with doubt. But all that building leads to nothing but stress. It drains the soul. It weakens the heart. That is why peace seems so far away, because we are too busy trying to create it ourselves, forgetting that peace is not something you create. Peace is something you receive when you release. And it begins when you choose to trust. Not halfway, not occasionally, but fully. Trusting God fully means loosening your grip on what is breaking you. It means choosing rest over rush, surrender over striving. It means knowing deep down that your life is not random, your pain is not wasted, and your steps are not lost. Every detail of your journey is seen. Every tear is counted. Every prayer is heard. And when you begin to walk in that truth, you find yourself standing in peace, even when the storm still rages. You do not have to know the outcome to have peace. You do not need all the answers to sleep at night. When your trust is placed in the one whose ways are higher and whose plans are perfect, your heart stops racing, your mind stops spinning, and your spirit starts to breathe again. That is the kind of peace that does not make sense to the world. That is the kind of peace that comes when you have left everything in God's hand. It does not mean everything will go the way you imagine, but it does mean that everything will unfold according to a higher wisdom. Even the delays, the detours, the disappointments, they are not wasted. They are being shaped by a divine hand that knows exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. And sometimes the greatest peace is not found in understanding why, but in trusting who. So you can smile again, not because life is perfect, but because your trust is. You can breathe easy again, not because the storm has passed, but because your soul knows who commands the wind. When you trust fully, your faith becomes your foundation and peace becomes your covering. That kind of peace cannot be shaken, it cannot be stolen, it cannot be explained, and it doesn't have to be. It only needs to be lived. And the moment you leave everything in God's hands, you will begin to feel it grow in you like a quiet strength, a calm assurance, a steady whisper that says, I am with you. You are not alone. And that is more than enough. There is a quiet kind of power that comes when you finally stop trying to do everything by yourself, when you let go of the exhausting need to be strong all the time, when you stop pretending that you have all the answers. Something beautiful happens. You make space for God's strength to rise in you. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is understanding that no matter how much you try, you are still human, still limited, still in need of a power far greater than your own. And when you step back and place it all in God's hands, His strength steps in with a force that is gentle yet unshakable. We live in a world that tells us to keep pushing, keep hustling, keep fixing everything on our own. But the truth is, not everything is ours to fix. Not every battle is ours to fight. Not every weight is ours to carry. Some things belong in the hands of God alone. And the moment you truly let go, not just in words, but in the quiet surrender of your heart, is the moment you are covered by a strength that does not fail. It is not always easy. We want to be in control. We want to know what's next. We want to solve every problem the moment it appears. But letting go requires trust, and trust grows in the soil of humility. It grows when we kneel in prayer instead of rising in panic. It grows when we say, God, I don't know how to do this, and still believe that He does. And in that belief, His power begins to move in ways we could never have imagined on our own. God's strength is not loud or flashy. It does not demand attention or shout over the noise. It moves quietly, steadily, faithfully. It shows up when you are tired, when you are afraid, when you are unsure. It meets you in your weakest hour and lifts you in ways that surprise even your own soul. And sometimes the greatest strength is not found in the fight, but in the release. When you hand over your fears, your plans, your pain, you begin to see how strong God has been all along. He is not just present in your victories, He is working in your valleys. He is steady when you feel shaken. He is firm when you feel fragile. And His strength never runs out. It never runs weary. It never leaves you to face anything alone. So stop trying to be everything for everyone. Stop stretching yourself thin, trying to fix what only God can restore. Letting go is not giving up. It is handing over the parts of your life that were never yours to control. It is trusting that the hands that form the mountains and shape the stars can also carry you through your struggle. And when you let go, you do not fall, you rise, because you are lifted by something divine. Leave it all with Him. The fears that haunt you, the dreams that overwhelm you, the wounds that still ache, let it all rest in His care. His strength will take over where yours ends. And in that sacred exchange, you will find peace that stands firm and courage that does not come from your own heart, but from the one who holds it. That is the miracle of letting go, and the beauty of trusting God completely. Faith does not bloom in ease and comfort. It does not grow strong in perfect weather or flawless days. Faith deepens when you are brought to your knees, when life becomes too heavy, when questions have no answers, and the way forward is hidden in shadows. That is where it takes root. That is where it stretches upward through the soil of surrender, watered not by certainty, but by trust. You see, real faith is not just believing in God's power, it is trusting His plan even when it breaks yours. It is saying, I still believe when nothing around you makes sense. There is something sacred about reaching the end of yourself. You come to a place where striving fails you, where logic is too small to carry the weight of your soul, and all you can do is look up and say, God, I give it all to you. That moment may feel like weakness, but in truth, it is the beginning of something mighty. Because faith is not about control. It is about surrender. It grows not in the light of answers, but in the dark of not knowing, where you choose to believe anyway. When you leave everything in God's hands, you are not giving up. You are planting your faith in ground far more stable than your own understanding. You are placing your hope in something eternal. And just like a seed buried in the earth, your faith may not be visible at first. It may seem small, unnoticed, even forgotten, but it is working, it is developing, it is preparing to rise. You cannot rush it, you cannot force it. You can only trust that in due time it will bear fruit. Letting go is the sunlight that warms that seed. Prayer is the rain that nourishes it. Stillness is the space where it takes root. And every time you choose trust over fear, patience over panic, peace over pressure, that faith grows deeper. It stretches wider. It holds stronger. That is why trials do not destroy you. They build you. They strip away the noise and bring you back to the core of who you are and whose you are. Sometimes we want to hold on to everything so tightly, thinking our grip will keep things together. But faith says, loosen your hands. Faith whispers, let it go. Because only in the letting go do we truly begin to grow. Only when the soil of surrender is soft can the roots of faith go deep. And once they do, you will find strength rising in you that the world cannot explain. This is why people with true faith often carry a quiet joy, not because life has been easy, but because they have learned to trust through the difficulty. Their peace is not a result of their circumstances, but of their connection. They have left everything in God's hands and found rest in the waiting. And that kind of faith cannot be shaken by a change in plans or a turn in the road. It is a faith that keeps standing when others sit down, a faith that keeps loving when hearts grow cold, a faith that keeps believing when nothing is certain. That is what grows when you release your fears and place your life in the care of the one who made you. And so, in the soil of surrender, plant your faith. Leave your worries, your dreams, your wounds in His hands. Watch them grow into something far more beautiful than you could have ever imagined on your own. When life begins to tremble beneath your feet, when the ground seems unsure and your heart begins to question everything around you, there is something steady to hold on to. God's hands never tremble. While we falter and fear and wonder how we will make it through the next hour, the next day, the next season, His grip remains firm. The world may shake, but He does not. Our emotions may change with every breath, but He remains constant, unbothered by the winds of doubt that howl through our lives. When you leave everything in His hands, you are placing it into something unshakable. There is comfort in knowing that the same hands that stretched out the heavens and scattered the stars are the very hands holding your life. These hands are not weak, not nervous, not caught off guard by the chaos we face. They have never once dropped what was placed in them. And when you place your burdens there, when you surrender what is too heavy to carry, you find yourself standing on ground that will not give way. We try so hard to manage the storms ourselves. We brace ourselves against disappointment. We prepare for failure. We carry every weight with clenched fists and anxious minds, thinking if we hold on tight enough, maybe we can keep everything from falling apart. But the truth is, no matter how strong we try to be, we are not built to carry everything alone. Our hands were not made to bear the whole load, but his hands do not shake under pressure. They do not slip when the climb gets steep. They do not grow tired of holding what we cannot. That is why trusting him is not just a choice. It is a relief. You are not placing your life into the unknown. You are placing it into the most capable hands in all creation, the hands that shaped the beginning of time, the hands that wrote your story before you even lived a day, the hands that still hold you now. You may feel uncertain, but he is not. You may feel lost, but he knows exactly where you are. And even when it feels like nothing is going according to plan, he is still in control. Nothing surprises him, nothing shakes him. And when you know that truth deep in your soul, you stop needing to have every answer. You stop needing to hold everything together because you know the one who does. And when your world does begin to tremble, because sometimes it will, you can be still and know that the one who holds you is not moved. His faithfulness is not seasonal. His strength does not run out. He does not retreat. He does not hesitate. He does not let go. He is the firm foundation beneath every broken step you take. That's why we leave it all in his hands, the dreams, the doubts, the heartbreak, the hope, because those hands are sure, those hands are safe. And when you finally let go and place your trust fully in him, you begin to feel the steady calm of peace return. Not because everything is fixed, but because you are held, and what is held by God will never be lost. And that truth alone is more than enough. There are times when we pray and plan and prepare and still feel like nothing is moving. We wonder why doors remain closed, why answers don't arrive, why things we long for seem just out of reach. In those moments, it's tempting to try harder, to force things to happen, to carry more than we should. But there's a quiet miracle that unfolds the moment we truly let go. When you release control and surrender your expectations, your deadlines, your need to understand it all, you make space for God to do what only he can do. That's when miracles begin to take shape, not in the noise of our effort, but in the silence of our surrender. Control is a heavy thing. We hold it with tense fingers and weary hearts, thinking that if we just try a little harder, maybe we can steer life in the right direction. But sometimes what we call responsibility is really just fear in disguise. Fear that if we don't hold it all together, everything will fall apart. But when we release that fear and place our lives in the hands of the one who never fails, we begin to see that we were never meant to carry so much. We were only meant to trust. Miracles don't always come wrapped in dramatic moments or thunderous signs. Sometimes they appear gently in the shift of a heart, in the calm that comes over your soul when you finally say, Lord, I give this to you. That is the ground where faith flourishes and miracles find room to grow. When you stop clinging and start trusting, you clear the path for divine movement. The hands that shape the oceans and lifted mountains are still working, but they often wait for our surrender before they move. We often ask God to guide us, but then hold on to the map ourselves. We ask him to bless us, but only in the ways we imagine. Yet it is in the release, the full, unguarded, tear-soaked release, where God begins to show us that his ways are far better than ours, that his timing is wiser, his vision clearer, and his love deeper than we will ever grasp. When we open our hands, we not only let go, we also receive. And what we receive is far greater than what we gave up. It may not happen overnight. Sometimes miracles grow in quiet places, unseen for a season, like seeds resting in the soil. But they are there. God is always working. And what you thought was a delay was really preparation. What you saw as silence was actually grace, holding you gently, waiting for the right moment to unfold the blessing. And when it does, it will fit your life so perfectly, you'll wonder why you ever doubted. So do not be afraid to release it, that dream, that pain, that worry. Give it to him without fear. Trust that when you no longer feel strong enough to carry it, that's when you are finally in the right position to watch him lift it with ease. Because when you release control, you are not losing power. You are stepping into peace. And peace is where miracles come to life. Leave the outcome, the worry, and the timeline in God's hands. Let go and watch heaven move. So as you walk forward from here, take this truth with you. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were created to trust, to surrender, to rest in the assurance that God's hands are stronger, wiser, and more loving than your own. When you leave everything in his hands, you do not lose control. You gain peace. You gain freedom. You gain the strength that comes from knowing you are held, guided, and never, ever alone. May your days ahead be filled with quiet confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because your faith is planted deep. May you find the courage to let go, the grace to wait, and the joy of watching miracles unfold when you least expect them. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking in the light of that unshakable truth. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for listening. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a truth that is both universal and personal. Failure. Yes, failure. The word so often feared, avoided, and misunderstood. But I ask you to shift your perspective today. What if failure is not a stumbling block, but a stepping stone? What if every defeat carries within it the seeds of a brighter tomorrow? Failure, at its core, is not the antagonist we often make it out to be. It is instead one of life's most profound and impactful teachers. When we fail, we are presented with an opportunity to learn lessons that success alone could never teach us. In fact, some of the greatest growth in our lives comes not from moments of triumph, but from the challenges and setbacks we face along the way. Think of failure as a mirror. It reflects the areas where we might lack preparation, the gaps in our knowledge, and the weaknesses in our strategies. It reveals truths about our choices and actions that success can sometimes obscure. When everything goes right, we rarely stop to evaluate why. Success can create a sense of comfort, a belief that we've figured it out. Failure, on the other hand, shakes us out of complacency. It forces us to examine the root cause of our mistakes and question our approach. Consider this. Every time you fail, you are given a chance to dissect the experience. What went wrong? Was it a lack of effort, preparation, or clarity? Was it something beyond your control? Or could you have done something differently? In seeking these answers, you gain a deeper understanding of the process, the task, and most importantly, yourself. But learning from failure requires humility. It demands that we let go of our pride and admit that we don't have all the answers. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to confront our shortcomings and acknowledge that we have room to grow. And while this can be uncomfortable, it is also incredibly liberating. Because once you recognize that failure is not the end, but a step in the learning process, you unlock the ability to move forward with greater wisdom and strength. Failure teaches patience. It reminds us that progress is not always linear and that setbacks are a natural part of any journey worth taking. It also teaches us resilience. The ability to bounce back after a disappointment and keep striving toward our goals. Every stumble builds a stronger foundation for the future. Think about some of the most successful people you admire. Their achievements are rarely the result of a flawless path. Instead, they are the result of perseverance through failures. Behind every innovation, breakthrough, or masterpiece lies a story of trial and error. Each misstep became a stepping stone toward eventual success. These individuals didn't just encounter failure, they embraced it as a critical part of their journey. Failure also fosters creativity and innovation. When something doesn't work, it challenges us to think differently, to innovate, and to approach the problem from new angles. Some of the most groundbreaking discoveries in history happened not because everything went perfectly, but because someone failed and refused to give up. Instead, they used failure to fuel their curiosity and determination to find a better way. Above all, failure teaches us about ourselves, our values, our priorities, and our character. It shows us how much we are willing to fight for our dreams, how adaptable we can be in the face of adversity, and how deeply we believe in our potential to grow. So, the next time you fail, don't see it as a defeat. See it as a lesson waiting to be learned. Listen to what failure is trying to tell you. Let it guide you, shape you, and propel you forward. Remember, the most profound wisdom often emerges from the most challenging experiences. Failure, if you allow it, can be your greatest teacher. Our perspective shapes our reality. The way we view the world, our circumstances, and ourselves has a profound impact on how we respond to challenges. When it comes to failure, perspective becomes even more critical. While it's easy to see failure as a roadblock or an indictment of our abilities, choosing to shift our perspective can transform how we experience it and ultimately how we grow from it. Failure by its very nature is uncomfortable. It challenges our sense of competence and can leave us feeling exposed or discouraged. But what if we change the way we look at it? What if instead of seeing failure as a sign of inadequacy, we began to see it as a stepping stone to success? The first step in shifting your perspective is recognizing that failure is not inherently negative. Society often conditions us to view failure as something to be avoided at all costs. But think about this. Every person who has achieved something remarkable has failed along the way. They didn't let those moments define them. Instead, they used failure as a tool, a source of feedback, and a motivator to keep going. Through climbing a mountain, along the way, you might stumble or lose your footing. Does that mean you're not capable of reaching the summit? Of course not. Those stumbles are part of the journey. Each one teaches you something about the terrain, your footing, and the strength required to keep moving upward. The same is true of life. Failure is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's evidence that you're trying, learning, and progressing. Shifting your perspective also means reframing what success and failure mean to you. Success isn't about never falling. It's about rising each time you do. Failure isn't about being wrong. It's about being brave enough to try. When you redefine failure in this way, it loses its power to paralyze you with fear. Instead, it becomes a natural and even necessary part of growth. Consider the stories of inventors, entrepreneurs, and artists. Many of the world's greatest innovations were born out of failure. When Thomas Edison was asked about the thousands of failed attempts he experienced while inventing the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000,000 ways that won't work." Edison didn't see his unsuccessful attempts as failures. He saw them as data points, steps along the journey to success. That shift in perspective made all the difference. Another way to shift your perspective is to focus on what failure adds to your life rather than what it takes away. When you fail, you gain experience. You develop resilience, problem-solving skills, and a deeper understanding of yourself and your goals. Failure often forces you to step outside your comfort zone. And while that can be uncomfortable, it's also where the most meaningful growth happens. Additionally, shifting your perspective requires self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you fail. Instead of beating yourself up or dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to move forward? Treat failure as a teacher, not a judge. Finally, remember that your perspective is a choice. While you may not have control over the fact that you've experienced failure, you have complete control over how you respond to it. You can choose to see it as the end, or you can choose to see it as a new beginning. You can view it as a setback, or you can embrace it as an opportunity for growth. When you shift your perspective on failure, you free yourself from the fear of it. You open the door to creativity, innovation, and resilience. You allow yourself to dream bigger and take bolder steps toward your goals. So the next time you encounter failure, take a moment to pause, reflect, and adjust your perspective. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of the process. Shift your perspective and you'll see it for what it truly is, a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. Life is a journey filled with moments of triumph and setbacks, joy and disappointment. Along the way, we all encounter failure, times when things don't go as planned, dreams are delayed or goals seem out of reach. In these moments, we are faced with a choice: to dwell in regret or to rise with resilience. Choosing resilience over regret is not just a mindset, it's a way of reclaiming your power and finding the strength to keep moving forward. Regret often comes easily. It whispers in your ear asking, "What if?" It replays moments of failure on a loop, pointing out missed opportunities or mistakes made. Regret is rooted in the past and what has already happened and cannot be changed. While it's natural to feel regret after a failure, it's important not to let it take root in your heart. Regret, if left unchecked, becomes a heavy burden, weighing you down and preventing you from taking the next step. Resilience, on the other hand, is about forward motion. It's the determination to rise after a fall, the courage to try again, and the belief that setbacks are temporary. Resilience is not about ignoring failure or pretending it didn't happen. It's about facing it head on, learning from it, and using it as a stepping stone to something greater. Choosing resilience over regret begins with perspective. Instead of fixating on what went wrong, focus on what you can do next. Every failure holds valuable lessons. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How can I grow from it? What adjustments can I make to move closer to my goals? By shifting your focus from what you've lost to what you can gain, you begin to transform failure into an opportunity for growth. Resilience also requires self-compassion. Often when we fail, we are our harshest critics. We replay our mistakes, berate ourselves for falling short, and allow shame to take over. But resilience thrives in an environment of kindness and understanding. Instead of tearing yourself down, remind yourself that failure is a natural part of life. Everyone stumbles, and no one achieves greatness without facing challenges along the way. To build resilience, it's important to cultivate a mindset of gratitude. Even in failure, there are things to be thankful for: the lessons learned, the growth experienced, and the strength discovered within yourself. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, helping you see the value in every experience, even the difficult ones. Another key to resilience is action. Regret keeps you stuck in the past, but resilience pushes you to take the next step, even if the path ahead feels uncertain. Moving forward, no matter how small the step, builds momentum. Each step reinforces your belief in your ability to overcome challenges. Think of resilience as a muscle. Every time you face a setback and choose to rise, you strengthen that muscle. Over time, it becomes easier to bounce back from adversity. You begin to trust in your ability to handle life's challenges, no matter how difficult they may seem. Choosing resilience over regret doesn't mean you won't feel pain or disappointment. It's okay to grieve a loss, acknowledge a setback, or feel the sting of failure. But resilience means refusing to stay in that place of pain. It's about finding the courage to heal, grow, and keep moving forward. The stories of great achievers are filled with examples of resilience. Think about those who have faced immense challenges and yet refused to give up. They didn't let regret hold them back. Instead, they used their failures as fuel to keep striving. Their resilience became the foundation for their eventual success. Ultimately, resilience over regret is a choice to live in hope rather than despair, to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and to focus on what's possible rather than what's lost. It's a choice to believe in your ability to rise, no matter how many times you fall. So when faced with failure, choose resilience, let go of regret, and embrace the lessons, the growth, and the strength that come from rising again. Remember, it's not the fall that defines you, it's how you rise. And every time you rise, you prove to yourself and the world that you are stronger than any setback, more determined than any obstacle, and more resilient than you ever imagined. Adversity is a universal experience. At some point, life challenges each of us, presenting obstacles that test our resolve, strength, and spirit. While adversity can feel overwhelming, it also presents an opportunity to discover and cultivate one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess: courage. Courage in the face of adversity is not about being fearless. It is about acting despite fear, uncertainty, and difficulty. It is the willingness to confront challenges head on and persist even when the odds seem insurmountable. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Fear is a natural response to the unknown or to situations that threaten our sense of security. But courage is about not letting that fear dictate your choices. It's about standing firm even when every part of you wants to retreat. In many ways, courage begins with a decision. The decision to face adversity rather than avoid it. To take a step forward rather than remain stagnant. One of the greatest misconceptions about courage is that it's reserved for extraordinary people or grand heroic acts. But courage is something we all have within us, and it shows up in countless ways every day. It's the single parent who works tirelessly to provide for their children. It's the student who stands up to bullying. It's the individual who faces illness with dignity and determination. Courage is woven into the fabric of everyday life, often in ways that go unnoticed, but are no less powerful. When adversity strikes, courage begins with acknowledging the reality of the situation. Denial or avoidance might feel easier in the moment, but true courage requires us to confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. This doesn't mean we have to face everything all at once. Courage is not about being reckless or rushing headlong into every challenge. It's about taking intentional, thoughtful steps forward, even when the path is unclear. Courage also requires vulnerability. It means admitting when we're struggling, asking for help when we need it, and being honest about our fears. There's a misconception that courage is about being strong and self-sufficient at all times. But in reality, some of the most courageous acts involve leaning on others and allowing them to support us. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness. In the face of adversity, courage is often fueled by hope. Even when the road ahead feels uncertain, hope allows us to believe that better days are possible. It reminds us that no storm lasts forever and that challenges, no matter how daunting, are temporary. Hope doesn't eliminate adversity, but it gives us the strength to keep going, to take one more step and then another. Adversity can feel isolating, but courage reminds us that we are never truly alone. Throughout history, countless individuals have faced similar struggles and found ways to overcome them. Their stories inspire us and show us that courage is a universal human trait. Whether it's reading about someone who persevered through difficult circumstances or drawing strength from the people in our lives, we are constantly surrounded by examples of courage. Courage also involves resilience. The ability to adapt, recover, and keep going even after setbacks. Resilience and courage go hand in hand because adversity rarely comes in a single wave. Often, it is a series of challenges that test our limits. Courage is what keeps us standing after the first wave, and resilience is what keeps us standing through the rest. Importantly, courage is a skill that can be developed. Each time we choose to face adversity instead of avoiding it, we strengthen our capacity for courage. It might begin with small acts, speaking up when we feel silenced, stepping outside of our comfort zone, or choosing optimism when despair feels easier. Over time, these small acts of courage build into a foundation of inner strength that prepares us for greater challenges. Adversity is not something we can control, but courage is. When we choose courage, we take back our power. We refuse to let difficulties define us or dictate the course of our lives. Courage reminds us that no matter how dark the moment, we have the strength to endure and the ability to rise. So when you find yourself facing adversity, summon your courage. Take a deep breath and take one step forward, even if it feels small. Trust in your ability to rise above the challenges, and remember that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Each act of courage, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are meant to be. And in the end, it is through courage that we transform adversity into growth, strength, and success. Life is unpredictable. There will be times when our plans falter, when our efforts seem to fall short, and when failure or adversity takes us by surprise. In those moments, it's natural to feel overwhelmed or defeated. However, the question you choose to ask yourself in response to such challenges can shape the course of what comes next. Instead of dwelling on why me or what if, shift your mindset and ask, what now? This simple yet powerful question transforms your perspective. It shifts your focus from the past, what went wrong or what you can't change, to the present and future. What now is a call to action. It's a reminder that no matter how difficult the situation, there is always something you can do, some step you can take, some lesson you can learn to move forward. When you ask what now, you empower yourself. Instead of being a passive observer of your circumstances, you become an active participant in your journey. You acknowledge that while you may not have control over what has happened, you do have control over how you respond. That control is where your strength lies. The beauty of what now is that it invites reflection without stagnation. It encourages you to pause and assess the situation, but not to stay stuck in analysis or regret. It's about learning from the experience and then taking actionable steps to adapt and grow. Perhaps you need to change your approach, seek guidance, or simply take a break and recharge before trying again. Asking what now helps you identify the best path forward. This question also fosters resilience. When faced with setbacks, it's easy to spiral into negative thinking, replaying the failure in your mind and questioning your abilities. But what now shifts your energy from self-doubt to problem solving. It reminds you that failure is not final. It's a moment in time, not a permanent state. Asking what now is an act of optimism and courage, a declaration that you're not giving up, but instead looking for the next step. Consider how what now has played a role in some of the most inspiring stories of perseverance. Athletes who lose a competition don't dwell on the loss forever. They ask, what now? And use the defeat to train harder. Entrepreneurs who face setbacks in their ventures ask, what now? And pivot, innovate, or try again with new insights. People who experience personal hardships ask, what now? And take steps to heal, grow, and rebuild their lives. What now is also a question of creativity. When a door closes, it challenges you to think outside the box and explore new opportunities. Sometimes the path forward isn't immediately clear, and that's okay. Asking what now encourages you to remain curious and open to possibilities. It's a reminder that adversity often sparks innovation, and that challenges can lead to breakthroughs you never imagined. It's important to note that asking what now doesn't mean dismissing your emotions or rushing past your feelings. It's okay to take time to process disappointment, grief, or frustration. But once you've acknowledged those emotions, what now invites you to move forward with intention. It's not about suppressing your feelings, it's about channeling them into action. Another significant aspect of what now is its ability to foster a growth mindset. When you embrace this question, you view challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to learn and grow. Each failure becomes a chance to gain wisdom, develop new skills, or strengthen your character. Asking what now reinforces the idea that life is a journey, and every step, whether forward, backward, or sideways, contributes to your growth. Sometimes the answer to what now is small and simple. It might be taking a single step forward, seeking advice, or reevaluating your goals. Other times it might involve a larger transformation, shifting your mindset, letting go of what no longer serves you, or completely reimagining your path. Either way, the question keeps you focused on progress, however incremental it may be. Lastly, what now is an empowering question because it reminds you that you always have a choice. Even in the face of the most challenging circumstances, you have the ability to decide your next move. That choice might not be easy, but it's yours to make. So the next time you encounter failure or adversity, resist the urge to ask, "Why did this happen?" or "What could I have done differently?" Instead, take a deep breath and ask, "What now?" Let this question guide you toward action, growth, and resilience. In the face of setbacks, it is the question that will keep you moving forward, one step at a time, toward a brighter future. When life doesn't go as planned, it's natural to feel stuck. Whether it's a personal failure, a professional setback, or an unexpected curveball, our minds often gravitate toward questions like, "Why did this happen?" or "What went wrong?" While these questions can provide context or clarity, they don't always offer a way forward. That's where the power of what now comes in. Asking what now is more than just a question, it's a declaration of intent. It's a shift in perspective that focuses on action, growth, and resilience. It forces us to look ahead rather than remaining fixated on the past. This deceptively simple question holds the key to unlocking progress, even in the face of the most challenging circumstances. When we face failure, it's easy to become paralyzed by indecision or overwhelmed by the weight of what went wrong. What now cuts through that paralysis? It's a call to action that moves you from reflection to motion. The question doesn't ignore the pain of what's happened, but it acknowledges that staying stuck won't change the outcome. By asking what now, you open the door to possibilities. It allows you to explore options, weigh your next steps, and determine a course of action. Whether it's taking a small step forward or embarking on a complete reinvention, what now shifts your mindset from helplessness to empowerment. Dwelling on the problem can magnify its significance, making it seem insurmountable. What now shifts your focus from the problem to potential solutions. It encourages you to think creatively, adapt to the circumstances, and find a way to navigate through or around the challenge. For example, if a project you've worked on fails, asking what now redirects your attention. Instead of fixating on why the project didn't succeed, you can identify what you learned, what changes you might make, and how you can approach future endeavors more effectively. One of the greatest barriers to progress is the tendency to dwell on the past. Regret, guilt, and frustration can create a mental loop that's difficult to escape. What now is the antidote to this cycle? It's a forward-looking question that reminds you the past is unchangeable, but the future is within your control. This question doesn't mean you should ignore the past entirely. Instead, it reframes how you engage with it. Use the lessons learned to inform your next steps, but don't allow those lessons to anchor you in place. Asking, "What now?" is a way of respecting the past while committing to the future. Failure or adversity can leave you feeling powerless, as though circumstances are controlling your life. But what now shifts that narrative? It's a reminder that even when things go wrong, you have choices. You may not control everything, but you control your response. That response, shaped by the question, "What now?" is where your power lies. For instance, if you lose a job, the initial shock might make you feel helpless. But when you ask, "What now?" you take back control. You start to explore your options, updating your resume, reaching out to your network, learning a new skill, or even considering a completely new career path. What now applies to every area of life, Whether you're navigating personal challenges, professional setbacks, or even global crises, this question encourages proactive thinking. It's a tool that keeps you grounded in the present while focusing on the future. Life will inevitably bring moments that test your resolve. In those moments, the way you respond can make all the difference. Asking what now is a way of choosing progress over stagnation, growth over despair, and resilience over defeat. Each time you ask this question, you remind yourself that failure is not the end, it's a turning point. It's an opportunity to rise, to adapt, and to continue your journey. So when life challenges you, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what now? Let that question guide you toward the next chapter, the next opportunity, and the next step forward. When faced with failure, one of the most transformative things you can do is ask, what now? This question has a unique power. It takes you from a place of regret or despair and moves you into action. It's a question that doesn't ignore the weight of disappointment, but instead acknowledges it while calling you to rise above it. The beauty of asking what now lies in its simplicity and its focus on forward motion. It invites reflection, but it doesn't allow you to stay stuck in reflection. It shifts your perspective from what has been lost to what can still be gained. In moments of failure, the human mind often gravitates toward questions that trap us in the past. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? What if things had gone differently? While these questions may seem like they hold answers, they rarely offer solutions. Instead, they anchor us in a loop of doubt, regret, and rumination. Asking what now breaks that cycle. It's not about denying the pain of failure or pretending it didn't happen. It's about using that pain as fuel to move forward. It's about taking the lessons from the past and applying them to the present to create a better future. It also cultivates resilience. By asking what now, you train yourself to see challenges as opportunities rather than roadblocks. This mindset shift is crucial because failure is not a one-time event. It's a recurring part of life. When you develop the habit of responding to setbacks with what now, you build a foundation of resilience that prepares you to navigate future challenges with greater strength and confidence. You begin to trust in your ability to adapt, to recover, and to keep moving forward, no matter what. This question also fosters creativity. When one door closes, asking what now forces you to look for another. It encourages you to think outside the box and explore new possibilities you might not have considered before. Some of the greatest innovations and achievements in history have come from moments when someone faced failure and asked themselves, what now? This question allows you to reimagine what's possible and to find paths that lead to unexpected and extraordinary outcomes. What now also reminds you of your agency. In the face of failure, it's easy to feel powerless, as though life is happening to you and there's nothing you can do about it. But this question shifts the narrative. It's a declaration that you still have choices, that you still have the power to influence your future. Even when the options seem limited, what now challenges you to take ownership of your situation and to find a way forward. The impact of this question extends beyond the immediate moment. Every time you ask what now and take action, you reinforce a habit of perseverance and determination. You prove to yourself that failure is not the end, it's a turning point. Over time, this habit builds a sense of confidence and self-belief that carries you through even the most difficult times. You begin to see failure not as a threat, but as a natural part of growth, something to be embraced rather than feared. It's important to acknowledge that asking what now doesn't mean you won't feel the sting of failure. It's natural to experience disappointment, frustration, or even grief when things don't go as planned. But this question provides a way to channel those emotions constructively. It allows you to process what happened while keeping your focus on what's next. It's a way of honoring your feelings without letting them define you. This is when you embrace the question, what now, you step into a mindset of progress. You remind yourself that life is not static, that no failure is permanent, and that every setback is an opportunity to learn, grow, and try again. This question becomes a compass guiding you toward the next chapter of your journey, no matter how uncertain it may seem. So, when you find yourself standing at the crossroads of failure, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what now? Let that question guide you, one step at a time, toward a future filled with possibility and growth. In life, failure is inevitable, but it is not the end. It is a teacher, a guide, and a force that pushes us to grow beyond our limitations. By shifting our perspective, building resilience, and finding courage in the face of adversity, we discover the power to rise again. When we ask ourselves, what now? We open the door to endless possibilities, moving forward with purpose and hope. Let every setback be a stepping stone, and every challenge an opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. Remember, your journey is not defined by the times you fall, but by how you choose to rise. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these ideas with me today. May you carry this wisdom into your lives, face your challenges with confidence, and embrace every opportunity to grow. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a power inside each of us that many fail to recognize until it is too late. It is the power to shape our destiny not by grand gestures, but by small choices whispered in the silence of our own hearts. The words we speak, the thoughts we cradle, the feelings we harbor, and the treasures we manage, these are the keys to the life we seek. Yet so often we let them slip through our fingers like grains of sand, unguarded and wild. To master these four sacred forces is to claim your rightful throne in the kingdom of your own soul. Begin with your mouth, for the words you release carry the weight of worlds. Speak with intention and kindness, for what you utter today plants seeds in the garden of tomorrow. The tongue can build bridges or burn them down. It can heal wounds or deepen scars. Speak not in haste or anger, but in the quiet strength of wisdom. Remember that silence, too, is a language, one that listens and waits, allowing you space to breathe before you let your words fly. Then turn inward and learn to guide your mind. The mind is a restless river that will carry you where it pleases, unless you hold the reins with steady hands. Feed it with truth, nourish it with hope, and cleanse it of doubt and fear. The storms of confusion and distraction will come, but a mind anchored in clarity will stand tall and unshaken. Do not let it be a battleground where enemies fight. Make it a sanctuary where peace reigns. Your mood is the lens through which the world appears. When you cultivate patience, gratitude, and resilience, you color your days with light even when skies are heavy with clouds. Mood is not a fleeting guest, but a garden you tend with care. When sorrow knocks, greet it gently. When joy dances in, welcome it fully. Do not let your feelings be the masters of your fate, but rather the messengers guiding you toward deeper understanding. And finally, there is money, the river of exchange that flows through your hands. It is neither a master nor a demon, but a tool shaped by your wisdom. Learn to steward it with respect and discipline, for how you manage what you have speaks to the honor you hold for your own future. Waste not what you earn, and give generously when you can. Remember that true wealth is measured not by coins, but by the freedom and dignity money can help you create. The words we choose to speak are not just sounds carried away by the wind. They are the bricks with which we build the house of our lives. Every utterance holds the power to shape not only our reality, but the reality of those around us. When you learn to control your mouth, you learn to control the way you engage with the world. Speaking with purpose means understanding that your words are seeds planted in the fertile ground of other people's hearts and minds. If you sow kindness, encouragement, and truth, you cultivate gardens of hope and trust. But if you let anger, bitterness, or careless talk loose, you may find yourself surrounded by thorns and broken bridges. It takes great courage and discipline to hold your tongue when emotions rise and the impulses to lash out. Yet in those moments lies the greatest opportunity to choose your words carefully. The silence you keep before speaking is a sacred space where reflection can calm the storm inside. Think before you speak, for once words are released, they cannot be called back. How many times have harsh words damaged relationships beyond repair? How many dreams have been dimmed by careless criticism? The way you speak to yourself and others forms a mirror that reflects your inner world and shapes how life responds to you. Purposeful speech does not mean speaking only when necessary, but speaking with intention and love. It means letting your voice carry wisdom instead of noise, compassion instead of judgment, and encouragement instead of doubt. Your words can heal wounds, inspire change, and build bridges across divides. When you embrace this power, you become a creator rather than a destroyer. Every conversation then becomes an opportunity to uplift and empower. This control over your mouth is intertwined deeply with control over your mind, mood, and money. A clear and disciplined mind feeds purposeful speech, while a balanced mood prevents rash words born of anger or despair. When your spirit is calm and focused, your words flow naturally with truth and grace. And as you manage your resources wisely, you speak with confidence born from the security and freedom that comes with financial responsibility. In the end, learning to control your mouth is about honoring the sacred connection between thought, emotion, and expression. It is about choosing to be a light in a world that often thrives on noise and confusion. Speak as if your words carry the weight of the universe, because in truth, they do. When you do, you begin to craft a life filled with respect, peace, and endless possibility. The mind is a vast landscape where countless thoughts rise and fall like waves upon the shore. To master your mind is to learn the art of steering that restless sea with steady hands. Without control, the mind can become a wild tempest, tossing you into confusion, fear, and doubt. But when you take charge, it becomes a clear river flowing toward your dreams with purpose and strength. Your thoughts shape your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. This is why it is so vital to feed your mind with truth, hope, and clarity, rather than allowing it to be overwhelmed by negativity or distraction. Every day you face a choice. Will you let your mind be the battleground for chaos, or will you create a sanctuary of peace and focus? It begins with awareness, recognizing the thoughts that enter your mind and choosing which to nurture and which to let go. Like a gardener tending a delicate flower, you must carefully tend the seeds of your thoughts. Some will grow into courage and wisdom, others into fear and confusion. You hold the power to decide what flourishes within. The world often pulls at your mind with noise and chaos, tempting you to lose yourself in worry, regret, or distraction. But true strength comes from grounding yourself in what is real and true. When you anchor your mind in clarity, you gain the power to see beyond temporary storms and make decisions that serve your highest good. This clarity is not a gift from outside. It is cultivated inside through discipline, reflection, and the quiet moments when you listen deeply to your own soul. Your mood and mind are partners in this journey. When your mind is clouded, your mood will follow like a shadow. But when you cultivate mental clarity, your spirit feels lighter, more hopeful, and more resilient. You begin to notice how your thoughts influence your feelings and how your feelings influence your words and actions. By mastering your mind, you create a foundation of calm and confidence that supports every other area of your life. This mastery of the mind also reaches into how you manage your money. A clear and focused mind makes wiser choices, avoids impulsive decisions, and plans for the future with intention. Financial control is not just about numbers. It is about the mindset that governs those numbers. When your mind is disciplined, your money follows suit, becoming a tool to build freedom and security rather than a source of stress or temptation. To guide your mind is to guide your life. It is a daily practice of choosing clarity over confusion, courage over fear, and hope over despair. When you learn to master your mind, you unlock the door to endless possibilities and take your rightful place as the captain of your own ship. This journey is not easy, but it is the greatest gift you can give yourself, a gift that shapes every moment that follows. Life's tides rise and fall, and moods come like the changing winds, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce. Learning to cultivate emotional resilience means understanding that your mood does not have to be a prisoner of circumstance. It is a lens you hold, and how you hold it changes the way you see the world. When you master your mood, you no longer let the storms outside dictate the calm or chaos inside. You become the keeper of your own heart, the guardian who chooses patience when frustration knocks and gratitude when darkness looms. Mood is often mistaken for something random or uncontrollable, but it is shaped by how you respond to life's challenges and blessings alike. Resilience is the quiet strength that reminds you to breathe deeply when emotions threaten, to overwhelm, that tells you to pause before reacting, and that whispers courage when the weight of sorrow feels unbearable. It does not mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. Rather, it means feeling fully and choosing to move forward with grace despite the heaviness. When your mood is steady and balanced, your words carry power instead of pain. Your thoughts find clarity instead of confusion, and your actions reflect strength instead of weakness. This balance helps you to communicate wisely, to think clearly, and to make decisions that honor your well-being and your future. Emotional resilience is the bridge between your mind and your mouth, between your inner world and the outer reality you face. Your mood also colors the way you manage your money. When emotions run wild, decisions about resources can be impulsive or fear-driven, leading to loss or regret. But when you cultivate patience and calm, your financial choices become thoughtful and intentional, building security rather than chaos. It is no small thing to keep your spirit steady when life storms threaten to shake you. This steadiness becomes the foundation upon which you build a life of dignity and freedom. It takes practice and kindness to yourself to cultivate this kind of resilience. It begins with self-awareness, the gentle act of noticing your feelings without judgment, accepting them as messengers rather than masters. When you honor your emotions in this way, you give yourself space to heal and grow. Over time, you learn that mood is not a trap, but a teacher, guiding you toward deeper understanding and strength. Learn to control your mood is to reclaim your power. It means standing tall in the face of uncertainty, choosing hope when fear tries to take hold, and welcoming joy even in small moments. This mastery does not erase struggle, but transforms how you live through it. When you hold this power, you carry within you a light that no darkness can extinguish. This is the strength that shapes your journey and the legacy you leave behind. There is a sacred strength in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Mindful speech is the art of listening deeply before responding, of weighing your words in the balance of wisdom and compassion. Often the loudest voice is not the wisest, and the rush to fill silence can drown out the truths that lie quietly beneath. To practice mindful speech is to honor the power of your mouth, not as a weapon, but as a tool to build, heal, and inspire. Silence can be a force stronger than any words spoken. It creates space for reflection, for understanding, and for peace. In moments of anger or confusion, silence allows the storm within to settle before words are cast into the world. It teaches patience and humility, reminding us that not every thought needs to become a spoken word. When you learn to hold your tongue with respect, you protect yourself and others from the wounds careless speech can leave behind. This mindful approach to speaking is closely tied to the control of your mind and mood. When your thoughts are clear and your emotions balanced, your words naturally flow with purpose and grace. But when your mind is cluttered or your heart is heavy, impulsive words can cause damage that takes much longer to heal. Choosing silence in those moments is an act of strength, not weakness, because it requires self-control and awareness. Moreover, mindful speech invites deeper connection. When you listen more than you speak, when you seek to understand before being understood, you create bridges where once there were walls. Your words become seeds of empathy and respect, nurturing relationships that withstand trials and time. Speaking with intention invites others to do the same, cultivating an environment where truth and kindness thrive. This same mindfulness extends to how you manage your money. Just as you pause before speaking, you pause before spending or investing. Impulsive decisions often come from unguarded moments of weakness or frustration, but mindful financial choices come from a place of reflection and respect for your future. When you treat your resources with the same care as your words, you build a foundation of stability and honor. In all things, learning the power of silence and the wisdom of mindful speech is a gift you give to yourself and the world. It is a practice that requires patience and commitment, but yields a life marked by dignity, clarity, and peace. When you master this art, your mouth becomes a source of strength rather than strife, a light that guides you and those around you through the darkest nights and brightest days. This is the quiet power that transforms not just your voice, but your life, shaping a path of intention and grace with every word held and spoken. Money flows through our lives like a river, sometimes calm, sometimes rushing wild. To learn to manage this flow with wisdom is to claim a deep kind of freedom. Money in itself is neither good nor bad. It is simply a tool, a means to an end. How we choose to handle it reveals the measure of our discipline, respect, and vision. When you learn to steward your money wisely, you shape a future grounded not in fear or scarcity, but in security and possibility. Wise management of money begins with respect. Respect for what you have earned, for the effort behind every coin, and for the future you hope to build. It is easy to let money slip through your fingers when you act impulsively or out of emotion, but when you slow down, reflect, and plan, money becomes a servant to your dreams rather than a master over your life. It is not about how much you have, but how well you use what you have been given. Discipline is the heart of financial wisdom. It calls you to live within your means, to save rather than squander, and to give generously without losing sight of your own needs. The choices you make about money are deeply connected to your mind and mood. A clear mind makes thoughtful decisions, while a balanced mood prevents reckless spending born from anxiety or desire. When you bring these elements together, your money becomes a steady current flowing towards stability and growth. Learning to control your money also means learning patience. Wealth does not usually arrive in grand gestures or sudden windfalls. It is built slowly, like a house laid brick by brick. Saving, budgeting, investing all require time, consistency, and a vision beyond immediate gratification. This patience is a reflection of your ability to master not just your resources, but yourself. When your mouth, mind, and mood are under your care, your money follows naturally. Your words become promises kept, your thoughts become plans realized, and your emotions become calm guides rather than wild forces. Together, these controls form the foundation of a life lived with intention and grace, where money supports rather than controls your path. The power to manage your money wisely is a gift you give to yourself and those you love. It creates opportunities, reduces stress, and builds a legacy of freedom and dignity. This is not a path without challenges, but it is a journey worth taking, for it leads to a life where your choices reflect your values and your spirit remains unburdened. In mastering your money, you are not just counting coins, you are crafting a life of purpose and peace, where every decision is an act of self-respect and hope. This is the true wealth that no loss can take away. Your mood is the color with which you paint each day, the unseen force that shades how you experience the world around you. It is not merely a fleeting feeling, but a powerful lens that can either cloud your vision or illuminate your path. Learning to choose gratitude and patience daily is a quiet revolution within yourself, a way of reclaiming your power no matter what the world throws your way. When you nurture these qualities, you begin to see challenges not as enemies, but as teachers. Not as burdens, but as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. Gratitude is a gentle light that breaks through the darkest clouds. It does not deny pain or struggle, but acknowledges the small blessings that often go unnoticed. The breath that fills your lungs, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the kindness of a stranger, the lessons learned from hardship. This practice of thankfulness shifts your mood from scarcity to abundance, from despair to hope. It softens the heart and opens the door to joy, even in difficult times. When you hold gratitude close, your spirit finds rest and your mind finds clarity. Patience walks hand in hand with gratitude. It teaches you to wait without frustration, to endure without giving in to despair. Patience is the calm in the storm, the steady hand that guides you through uncertainty. It is not passive resignation, but active endurance, a knowing that growth and healing take time. When you cultivate patience, you give yourself permission to be imperfect, to stumble and rise again, to trust that the journey unfolds as it should. Your mood influences your mouth, mind, and money in profound ways. When you carry gratitude and patience, your words become kinder and more measured, your thoughts clearer and more focused, and your financial decisions wiser and more deliberate. A peaceful mood creates a fertile ground for all aspects of control to grow in harmony. Without this inner balance, even the best intentions can falter under the weight of anxiety or impatience. It takes daily commitment to nurture these qualities. Life will test your resolve with moments that tempt you to bitterness or haste, but each time you choose gratitude over complaint, patience over frustration, you strengthen the muscle of your spirit. This strength does not come from ignoring reality, but from facing it with a heart anchored in hope and a mind trained in resilience. In this way, learning to control your mood is not about denying your feelings, but about guiding them with wisdom and grace. It is about becoming the artist of your inner world, coloring your days with light, even when shadows linger. When you do this, you build a foundation that supports every other part of your life, allowing your mouth, mind, and money to follow the rhythm of your steady and strong heart. The choice to cultivate gratitude and patience is a powerful step toward freedom, a freedom born from the peace you carry within. True power lies not in what the world gives you, but in how you hold yourself, your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Self-control is the quiet strength that shapes your life far more than circumstance ever could. It is the foundation upon which all else is built, the root from which freedom and dignity grow. To master this control is to step into your fullest potential and claim the life that has always belonged to you. Controlling your mouth means more than restraining words. It means choosing to speak with integrity and intention. When you let your tongue run wild, you lose respect and sow confusion. But when you speak thoughtfully, your words become instruments of healing and inspiration. This control over speech reflects a deeper mastery over yourself, a self-awareness that transforms chaos into calm and reaction into response. Your mind, restless and full of voices, requires discipline to direct. Without control, it becomes a storm that tosses you about with fear, doubt, and distraction. But when you learn to guide your thoughts with clarity and purpose, your mind becomes a beacon of strength. You see paths where once there were walls, and possibilities where once there was despair. This mental control is the lens that focuses your energy into meaningful action. Mood, ever shifting like the wind, can either carry you forward or pull you under. Emotional self-control is not about denying what you feel, but about choosing how to respond. When you cultivate patience, gratitude, and resilience, you rise above the turbulence of life's storms. This steadiness becomes a refuge for your spirit and a beacon for those around you, showing that true strength is gentle, yet unbreakable. Money, too, falls under the umbrella of self-control. It is tempting to indulge in impulsive spending or to fear every decision. But when you master your financial habits with discipline and foresight, money becomes a tool for freedom rather than a source of worry. This control allows you to build a future of security and possibility, reflecting the respect you hold for yourself and your dreams. These 4 areas, mouth, mind, mood, and money, are intertwined threads in the fabric of your life. When you strengthen one, you strengthen them all. Self-control is not a single act, but a daily practice, a commitment to rise above the easy temptations and to stand firm in your values. It requires patience and courage, but it also brings a profound sense of peace and empowerment. To walk this path is to reclaim your voice, your thoughts, your emotions, and your resources. It is to become the architect of your destiny and the guardian of your soul. No external force can shake you when your inner world is held with steady hands. This mastery is the true measure of power, a power that frees you to live fully, love deeply, and shine brightly. Embrace this control as your birthright, and you will find that life bends gently to the strength of your steady heart. As we come to the close of this journey through the art of mastering your mouth, mind, mood, and money, remember that true strength is born from within. It is in the small choices you make each day, choosing your words with care, guiding your thoughts with clarity, nurturing your spirit with patience, and stewarding your resources with wisdom, that your life transforms. This path of self-control is not always easy, but it is the doorway to freedom, peace, and a future shaped by your own hand. May you walk it with courage and grace, knowing that every step forward is a victory. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for allowing me to share these words with you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes the very challenges we face are the catalysts for our greatest breakthroughs. In the journey of life, setbacks are not a sign of defeat, but a call to rise, learn, and transform. When obstacles block our path, they invite us to look deeper within ourselves, to discover strength we never knew existed, and to reframe our perspective on what it means to truly grow. Each setback carries its own lesson, a hidden truth waiting to be uncovered. It is in our moments of trial that we learn resilience, find courage, and develop the wisdom necessary to navigate the winding roads of our destiny. Just as a seed must break through the soil to blossom, so too must we sometimes endure hardships to reveal our true potential. Every journey in life is paved with unexpected twists and turns, and within those moments of challenge lies a profound opportunity to grow. When we encounter a setback, it is all too easy to see it as a mark of failure or as an insurmountable obstacle. However, if we shift our perspective, we begin to see these hardships as catalysts for transformation, moments that compel us to dig deeper, reevaluate our purpose, and ultimately become stronger than before. In the midst of difficulty, we often feel overwhelmed and disheartened, yet it is precisely during these times that our character is tested and our hidden strengths come to light. Like a seed that must struggle through the soil before it can burst forth into bloom, our struggles nurture the growth that prepares us for a future of abundant possibilities. Instead of allowing setbacks to define us, we must embrace them as vital lessons in our personal evolution. Every challenge offers us a unique insight, a chance to learn something new about ourselves and to refine our approach to life. Embracing setbacks means recognizing that each hurdle we face is not a dead end, but rather a detour, leading us to a path we might not have otherwise discovered. It is a call to reframe our experiences not as failures, but as necessary stepping stones on our journey toward wisdom and fulfillment. When we adopt this mindset, we replace self-doubt with curiosity and the fear of failure with a spirit of inquiry. We begin to ask, what is this experience teaching me? Rather than succumbing to the temptation to retreat from life's challenges. In this light, setbacks become a mirror, reflecting back the areas in which we have room to grow. They encourage us to explore parts of our character that remain untapped, and to cultivate the resilience required to navigate an ever-changing world. With every stumble, we are given a moment to pause, learn, and re-strategize. This process of self-reflection allows us to identify our strengths and weaknesses, pushing us to evolve into more resourceful, determined, and courageous individuals. It is through these experiences that we learn to build a foundation of inner strength, one that supports us when the road ahead appears uncertain. Moreover, the lessons derived from our setbacks have a ripple effect that extends beyond our individual growth. When we choose to see adversity as an opportunity, we become examples of resilience for those around us. Our ability to transform a moment of hardship into a stepping stone inspires others to confront their own challenges with a renewed sense of purpose. By sharing our journeys of overcoming obstacles, we create a community bound by the belief that every difficulty carries the seed of potential for greatness. This collective strength fosters an environment where hope thrives, and where setbacks are met not with despair, but with determination and optimism. It is also important to understand that embracing setbacks requires us to let go of the need for immediate success or perfection. Growth is rarely linear. It is a process marked by ups and downs, triumphs and trials. In accepting this, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectation that we must always have everything figured out. Instead, we allow ourselves the grace to stumble and, in doing so, to learn valuable lessons that shape our journey. Every setback is a chance to recalibrate our focus, adjust our methods, and, most importantly, to reaffirm our commitment to a life of purpose and passion. Ultimately, the art of embracing setbacks is a testament to our capacity for transformation. It is a declaration that we will not be defined by our failures, but will instead rise from them with greater clarity and conviction. In every moment of adversity lies the potential for growth, a hidden opportunity waiting to be unlocked. By opening ourselves to this possibility, we empower not only our own lives, but also the lives of those who look to us for inspiration. In the journey of life, adversity is often seen as an enemy, an obstacle to be overcome. But it is during these moments of hardship that we are granted a profound opportunity, the chance to discover hidden strengths that lie dormant within us, waiting for the right moment to shine forth. The fires of adversity, though painful, can refine us into something stronger and more resilient, much like precious metal purified through intense heat. Every setback, every moment of struggle holds the potential to awaken qualities within us that we never knew existed. It is in our darkest hours that the light of our inner resources begins to glow. When we are forced to confront our vulnerabilities, we also come face to face with our capacity for courage, determination, and innovation. Adversity strips away the superfluous, revealing the very core of our being. Each challenge acts as a chisel, sculpting and refining our character, unearthing layers of strength and resolve hidden beneath the surface. These newly discovered strengths become the pillars that support us in times of need. Consider the countless stories of those who have faced tremendous hardship and emerged transformed by their experiences. They did not discover their hidden strengths by basking in the comforts of an easy life, but rather through the crucible of struggle. Their journeys remind us that within every setback lies a lesson, an invitation to delve deeper into our inner selves. When confronted by adversity, one might initially feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenge. Yet it is precisely during these moments of despair that the seeds of resilience and ingenuity are sown. Each obstacle, no matter how daunting, carries within it the blueprint of our untapped potential, a call to awaken to possibilities we might have otherwise overlooked. To truly discover these hidden strengths, we must shift our perspectives. Instead of viewing setbacks as proof of our inadequacy, we can see them as invitations to explore and expand our character. It is in the midst of struggle that we learn the virtues of perseverance, determination, and self-belief. As we navigate life's turbulent terrain, each challenge becomes not an end but a beginning, a doorway through which we tap into reservoirs of inner strength that have always been there, waiting patiently for adversity to bring them forth. In our encounters with hardship, we also learn to embrace vulnerability as a powerful attribute rather than a weakness. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable opens the door to genuine growth and self-discovery. When we share our struggles, we create an environment in which our hidden strengths can flourish and inspire others. Vulnerability becomes the gateway to authenticity, enabling us to confront our fears and discover the wellspring of resilience that lies within us. Moreover, each moment of adversity teaches us that our true power is not measured by how smoothly life unfolds, but by how we respond to the challenges we face. The process of discovering our hidden strengths is a gradual unfolding, a series of revelations that occur when we dare to step into the arena of life, even when the odds seem insurmountable. In every fall, there is an opportunity to rise, fortified by a newfound understanding of our capabilities and a strengthened resolve to pursue our dreams. Every trial becomes a stepping stone towards a deeper comprehension of who we are and what we are capable of achieving. In embracing these challenges, we learn that the journey of life is not about avoiding failure, but about using each setback as a stepping stone to growth. The strength we uncover in the midst of adversity is not an accidental gift. It is the result of our willingness to face our deepest fears, to learn from our mistakes, and to persevere despite the odds. It is in the crucible of hardship that the true measure of our character is revealed. And through that revelation, we gain the wisdom to navigate future challenges with grace and resilience. Every challenge we face is not a sign of defeat, but an invitation, a call to transform adversity into the rich soil from which wisdom grows. When we view obstacles as permanent barriers, we miss the chance to harvest the lessons they offer. Yet when we choose to see each trial as a unique teacher, every setback becomes a stepping stone toward a more enlightened and resilient version of ourselves. Imagine life as a grand tapestry, woven together with threads of joy, sorrow, success, and failure. In this intricate design, challenges are the darker hues that provide contrast, highlighting the brilliance of our victories and revealing patterns in our struggles that would otherwise go unnoticed. The essence of transforming challenges into lessons lies in our ability to step back and observe these moments with a reflective eye. Instead of letting adversity erode our spirit, we can embrace it, analyze its impact, and extract the valuable insights hidden within. It begins with a simple shift in perspective, a conscious decision to ask, what can this situation teach me? When confronted with difficulties, our initial instinct may be to retreat or to label the experience as nothing more than an unfortunate event. However, if we take a moment to pause and reflect, we often discover that the very elements of pain and frustration are laden with clues about our strengths, our vulnerabilities, and the areas in which we can grow. Just as a rough diamond is gradually refined through pressure and time, so too are our lives enriched by the lessons learned during challenging moments. Consider those times when adversity has knocked on your door, moments that initially seemed insurmountable. At first, the weight of these challenges might leave you feeling defeated, questioning your path and your capabilities. But as you take time to reflect on what went wrong, you began to see that these setbacks were not arbitrary misfortunes. They were carefully crafted opportunities for learning, chances to test your resolve, to build perseverance, and to discover strengths you never knew you had. Every difficult moment holds within it a hidden blueprint, a set of instructions that, if followed, can lead to profound personal growth. Transforming challenges into lessons is not an instantaneous process. It requires patience and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves. This journey of self-discovery often involves asking hard questions. How did I respond to this adversity? What can I do differently next time? What inner resources did I tap into and which ones remain untapped? By engaging with these questions, we begin to see that our hardships are not arbitrary incidents, but integral components of our personal evolution. They are the very experiences that refine our character and shape our destiny. This process of transformation is akin to a journey along a winding road, where each twist and turn, though unexpected, brings new scenery and fresh insights. With every setback, we learn to appreciate the value of resilience and the strength that lies within our ability to adapt. The lessons we gather from these experiences become the foundation upon which we build our future. They teach us that failure is not an end in itself, but rather a necessary prelude to success, a sign that we are pushing our boundaries and daring to grow beyond our current limitations. We empower not only ourselves, but also those around us. Our ability to extract wisdom from hardship can serve as an inspiration to others, encouraging them to face their own difficulties with courage and determination. In sharing our stories of transformation, we create a ripple effect, a community bound together by the belief that every setback is a stepping stone to greater heights. Through this shared understanding, we come to realize that our collective strength is forged in the fires of adversity. As you navigate your own path, remember that the trials you encounter are not meant to break you, but to build you up. Each challenge holds within it the seed of a lesson, a message crafted uniquely for you. Embrace these moments with an open heart and a willing spirit, knowing that they are the very mechanisms that drive your personal growth and prepare you for the opportunities that lie ahead. In the journey of overcoming life's challenges, resilience becomes our steadfast companion, and at its core lies the profound practice of self-awareness. When we pause to truly look within, we begin to understand not only our strengths, but also the areas where growth is needed. This honest introspection is not an exercise in self-criticism, but rather a gentle acknowledgement of our whole being, a recognition that every emotion, every thought, and every experience plays a vital role in shaping who we are. Through this deep understanding of ourselves, we cultivate a resilience that is both enduring and transformative. At times, life may seem overwhelming, and our first instinct might be to retreat into self-doubt or frustration. Yet it is during these moments of vulnerability that self-awareness offers us a way to reconnect with our inner power. By reflecting on our reactions and feelings, we learn to identify the triggers that unsettle us. This awareness provides the foundation for responding with clarity and calmness rather than reacting impulsively. In essence, self-awareness transforms our approach to adversity, enabling us to navigate setbacks with a measured strength that only comes from knowing oneself intimately. Consider the analogy of a tree that withstands fierce storms because its roots run deep. In the same way, the roots of our resilience are anchored in our self-acknowledgement. When we understand the intricacies of our emotions, what makes us tick, what brings us joy, and what stirs our fears, we create a stable base from which we can weather any storm. This inner stability allows us to see setbacks not as insurmountable obstacles, but as natural parts of our growth process. Through self-awareness, we learn that each challenge is an invitation to delve deeper into our inner world and emerge stronger on the other side. Self-awareness also invites us to embrace our imperfections as part of our unique journey. By acknowledging both our strengths and our vulnerabilities, we free ourselves from the unrealistic pursuit of perfection. This acceptance does not mean we become complacent. Rather, it empowers us to learn from our mistakes and to grow with compassion. Every misstep becomes a lesson, every setback a stepping stone. As we integrate these lessons, we develop a resilience that is flexible and adaptive, a resilience that acknowledges pain while also recognizing the capacity for joy and renewal. The journey toward greater self-awareness often involves moments of quiet reflection, times when we step away from the chaos of everyday life to listen to the whispers of our inner being. Whether through meditation, journaling, or simple moments of solitude, these practices allow us to connect with our true selves. In these quiet intervals, we discover that our inner dialogue holds the keys to unlocking our resilience. It is here that we can reframe our experiences, understanding that our hardships do not diminish our worth, but in fact refine our character. With each thoughtful reflection, we build a reservoir of inner strength that fortifies us against future challenges. Moreover, self-awareness bridges the gap between our internal world and the external challenges we face. When we are aware of our patterns of behavior and emotional responses, we are better equipped to anticipate and mitigate the impact of setbacks. This proactive stance transforms adversity into a teacher, revealing insights about our personal journey and guiding us toward more effective strategies for growth. In this way, self-awareness does not merely help us endure difficulties, it empowers us to transform them into opportunities for profound personal evolution. As we continue to develop self-awareness, we begin to see the interplay between our experiences and our inherent resilience. Every trial and triumph contributes to a larger narrative, one that is rich with lessons about the human spirit. Through self-reflection, we learn to value our journey, understanding that each challenge is not a mark of failure, but a stepping stone toward a more resilient and enlightened self. This understanding fuels our determination to rise time and again, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. Failure is not the end of the road, but rather a crucial stepping stone on the path of life. In our pursuit of greatness, every stumble along the way provides us with an opportunity to learn, evolve, and ultimately rise stronger than before. When we view failure as a permanent mark of defeat, we allow its shadows to define us. However, when we shift our perspective and see it as a stepping stone, we unlock a powerful mechanism for growth and self-improvement. Each time we fall, we are given the chance to gather wisdom, refine our purpose, and ignite the fire within us to try again. Imagine for a moment that life is a grand staircase, each step representing a different experience that shapes who we are. The missteps and falls we encounter are not obstacles blocking our ascent, but rather integral parts of the climb. It is through these moments of failure that we learn to appreciate the beauty of persistence. When we face setbacks, we are presented with invaluable lessons that refine our character and prepare us for the challenges that lie ahead. These lessons are not meant to discourage us, but to serve as guideposts along the journey toward our highest potential. Often the pain of failure can feel overwhelming, like a heavy weight on our shoulders. Yet within that very pain lies the seed of transformation. Each failure provides a unique insight into our own limitations and strengths. It reveals the areas in which we need to grow and pushes us to develop the resilience required to move forward. This process is not immediate or easy. It demands patience, reflection, and the courage to accept that sometimes our plans will not unfold as expected. But in embracing failure as a natural part of the journey, we liberate ourselves from the paralysis of fear and open the door to new possibilities. It is important to understand that the path to success is rarely linear. The journey is filled with detours and unexpected turns, and each deviation offers a chance to gather knowledge and experience. When we stumble, we are forced to reassess our strategies and recalibrate our actions. These moments of reflection can lead to breakthroughs, allowing us to see opportunities where we once saw only obstacles. By viewing failure as a stepping stone, we begin to understand that it is not the ultimate measure of our worth, but a necessary part of our evolution. Every setback reinforces the idea that our journey is about progress, not perfection. The wisdom gained from our failures also extends beyond our personal growth. It becomes a beacon of inspiration for others. When we share our experiences of overcoming setbacks, we foster a community of support and resilience. Our stories of failure and redemption remind others that they too can rise above their circumstances. This collective strength creates an environment where vulnerability is seen as a strength and where the courage to fail is celebrated as an essential element of success. In this way, our individual journeys become interconnected, contributing to a larger narrative of hope and perseverance. As we continue along our paths, it is crucial to maintain a mindset that views each failure as an opportunity rather than a defeat. This perspective empowers us to keep moving forward, even when the challenges seem insurmountable. With every misstep, we accumulate wisdom and insight that propels us toward a more enlightened future. We learn that success is not defined by the absence of failure, but by our ability to rise after each fall and to embrace the lessons that each experience offers. In this light, failure becomes a teacher, a mentor that guides us toward a deeper understanding of our true potential. The journey of transforming failure into a stepping stone is an ongoing process. It requires us to be gentle with ourselves, to accept that we are all on a path of growth and that every challenge, every setback, is an integral part of our development. By nurturing a mindset that sees failure as a stepping stone, we allow ourselves the freedom to explore, to experiment, and to learn from every experience, no matter how difficult. This approach not only builds resilience, but also fosters a sense of empowerment and self-compassion that is essential for long-term success. Every fall in life offers us a chance to reassemble ourselves and rise anew, with a purpose that is refined by experience. There is an inherent wisdom in each stumble, a subtle calling to examine not just the fall itself, but the very reasons behind it and the lessons it carries for our journey ahead. In those moments of vulnerability, we are given an opportunity to reconnect with our inner strength and clarify our vision. Rather than allowing the weight of a setback to diminish our resolve, we can choose to see it as an invitation to reevaluate our path, shed what no longer serves us, and step forward with a renewed determination. In the quiet aftermath of a fall, when the world seems momentarily still, our hearts begin to whisper truths that often go unnoticed amid the rush of everyday life. It is in these reflective moments that we can discern the patterns in our experiences and understand that every stumble is intricately woven into the fabric of our destiny. This reflection is not meant for self-reproach, but rather to gather insight and strength. With each fall, we are called to rise with a clearer sense of purpose, knowing that our journey is marked by cycles of trial and triumph. Our setbacks are the soil from which our renewed purpose grows, deepening our resolve and sharpening our focus on what truly matters. As we gather ourselves and rise from the dust of our failures, we discover that our purpose becomes more defined and compelling. The challenges we have faced serve as a refining fire, distilling our ambitions to their purest form. This clarity emboldens us, infusing each step we take with the confidence of one who has learned from adversity. Every time we overcome a setback, we are not simply returning to our former state. We are evolving into a stronger, wiser, and more determined version of ourselves. The act of rising after a fall transforms our setbacks into stepping stones, each one propelling us further on the path toward fulfilling our destiny. In this process, the ability to rise again becomes a celebration of our inner resilience and capacity for renewal. It is a reminder that no matter how many times we stumble, our spirit remains unbroken, ready to surge forward with a fresh, vibrant purpose. With every ascent, we learn to appreciate the power of persistence and the transformative nature of determination. The journey of recovery is not instantaneous. It is a gradual unfolding of inner strength, marked by small victories that accumulate into a profound sense of self and purpose. Each recovery is a testament to our unwavering commitment to our path, a clear signal that our past does not define us, but rather refines us. Moreover, the act of rising with renewed purpose after every fall radiates outward, inspiring those around us. Our personal comebacks serve as powerful examples that setbacks are not permanent endings, but essential chapters in the story of our lives. When we stand tall after a fall, with our purpose reawakened and our vision clarified, we illuminate the way for others. Our resilience becomes a shared beacon of hope, encouraging those who witness our journey to embrace their own challenges and to rise despite the odds. In this collective strength, we discover that our individual triumphs contribute to a larger narrative of perseverance and renewal. This continual process of falling and rising is a profound reminder that life is not defined by the hardships we encounter, but by the courage with which we respond to them. Every fall teaches us a lesson in humility and strength, and every rise solidifies our commitment to living with intention and clarity. With each resurgence, we become more attuned to our inner calling, more confident in our capabilities, and more compassionate toward ourselves and others. Our setbacks refine our character, and our comebacks pave the way for a future rich with promise and possibility. Let every fall be a lesson and every rise a celebration. a celebration of the power within us to overcome, rebuild, and emerge with a purpose that grows stronger with each experience. Embrace the rhythm of life where every setback is simply a prelude to a triumphant comeback. And may you always find the strength to stand tall, reclaim your vision, and rise with renewed purpose after every fall. As we draw this reflection to a close, remember that every setback is not an end, but the beginning of a transformative journey. Embrace each challenge as an opportunity to uncover your hidden strengths, to transform adversity into lessons, and to build a resilience that anchors you in self-awareness. With every stumble, you are invited to rise with renewed purpose, a purpose refined by the lessons of the past and fueled by the determination to forge a brighter future. May you carry this wisdom with you, trusting that each fall is simply a prelude to a powerful comeback. Let the hardships you encounter be the catalysts that reveal the strength within, guiding you toward growth and fulfillment. Your journey is a testament to the courage that lies in your heart and the endless potential that awaits when you choose to learn and grow from every experience. Good luck on your path, and thank you for allowing these words to accompany you on your remarkable journey toward becoming the best version of yourself.